Clint Eastwood, Hollywood's last living symbol of the American cowboy, recently turned 94. And with that milestone comes a quiet curiosity from fans. Where does a man like Eastwood, who spent decades commanding the silver screen, retreat to when the cameras stop rolling? The answer is as rugged and understated as the man himself. From his iconic roles in The Good, The Bad and the Ugly to his Oscar-winning direction in Million Dollar Baby, Eastwood has always exuded a presence of stoic grace and unshakable strength. Born in 1930, he carved out a career built on grit, minimalism, and the kind of masculinity that never needed to shout. Now, in the twilight of his life, he resides not in the heart of Hollywood, but in a sprawling, historic hacienda in the peaceful coastal town of Carmel-by-the-Sea, California, a place that speaks to the soul of who he is. Far from the bright lights and red carpets, Eastwood's home is a Spanish-style estate built in the 1850s, lovingly restored to preserve its timeless charm. With adobe walls, red-tiled roofs, hand-carved woodwork, and a panoramic view of the Pacific Ocean, the home reflects the old-world sensibilities that Eastwood has always admired. Inside, the space is warm and rustic, filled with vintage furnishings, film memorabilia, and deeply personal touches that tell the story of a life lived on his own terms. At 94, Eastwood still maintains a quiet daily rhythm, rising early, walking the trails around his estate, playing piano, or simply sitting outside to soak in the serenity of nature. The house itself isn't loud or ostentatious. Instead, it's serene and rooted in history, much like Eastwood's approach to fame and aging. While many of his contemporaries sought out luxury and headlines, Clint sought peace, privacy, and authenticity. It's the kind of home where you can hear the ocean more than the traffic, where old leather books line the shelves, and every creaking floorboard tells a story. Locals in Carmel speak warmly of him, describing him as humble, gracious, and still deeply involved in the community. Unsurprising. For a man who once served as the town's mayor in the late 1980s, his presence there is not one of grandeur, but of quiet respect. He's the kind of legend who doesn't need the world to notice, because he's already said all he needed to, both through his films and his life choices. Now, as Eastwood enjoys his later years in this deeply personal sanctuary, he reminds us that true greatness isn't always loud. Sometimes it's found in the gentle rustle of the ocean breeze, the notes from an old piano, and the simple stillness of a man who has already lived 1,000 lives on screen, but now, at last, is living just one for himself.